Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you are all doing well. I am back with the fabric in resin. This is one of my favorite results so far from my Christmas videos. If you missed this video, I'll link it here, but I made some absolutely stunning, gorgeous pendants with fabric. This was my first time trying fabric in resin. I was nervous, but they came out beautifully, and I knew then that I wanted to go bigger. I wanted to do a coaster, and right now I feel like I want to do a giant tray. I'm not even kidding. I want to go even bigger still, but I decided to try again, make some coasters and see what results we can get. Now I've cut my circles out. You can of course cut these on your Cricut. I get that comment quite a lot. You could have used your Cricut. Yeah, I know guys, I'm just a bit too lazy for that. So I used my scissors. I drew around an old coaster, used my scissors, cut them out, and I'm going to be using the round coaster mold by Molds and Shapes and the Istoyo resin. Everything you see in this video will be linked in the description box below. I haven't linked the fabric purely because fabric is just, I don't know, it's such a personal choice. If you want me to link the fabric, let me know. I can absolutely do that. Now the Istoyo resin, I am loving it. It is measurable by volume 1:1, so the cup they provided me with is amazing. It's like next level. It's like medium level cup, almost perfect for every project. You know those tiny little silicone cups that literally hold like 100 ml? This is, I think, like a 300 ml cup. Is so cool. Anyway, Istoyo, if you're watching, need more of those. Thank you. The first thing I'm doing, as you would have seen in the pendant video, it's such a simple project, guys. We're literally laying down a clear layer of resin and putting our fabric in, and I can't even tell you how simple this is. So if you are new to resin, if you've never tried fabric in resin, if you've been doing resin for years but you've not yet tried fabric, a bit like me, guys, please do it. Please do it, because oh my goodness me, you will not regret it. Now, once I've poured my clear layer down, I'm just going to go in with my heat gun, and I am really going to work each and every one of these coasters. I'm speeding this right up because, again, you don't need to sit through this in real time. I'm just A, dislodging any air bubbles that might be in there, but B, I want this resin to really be quite hot and runny to absorb my fabric. Now, the one thing I noticed with this fabric that I bought from Amazon, again, I bought this myself, the fabric is almost like fluffy on one side, but super neat on the other side. And all I really did was I just made sure that I put the neat side down into the resin, and I left that fuzzy fluffy side on the upside. So yeah, I don't know if it makes much of a difference, to be honest. I'm very new to this, but yes, all you see me do here is just allow that resin to take the fabric. I'm simply laying it down. Now you would have seen there, I accidentally dropped the green fabric in, and when I pulled it out, I created a load of bubbles. So I quickly heated that up, got them out again, and then I just rest my fabric down onto the resin, and you can already see the resin doing the work. The resin takes the fabric. It's a very similar technique to when you use polyurethane to create the satin sheet effect. Allow the resin to take the sheet, allow the resin to take the fabric. And the reason I'm doing this is just because I just think it's going to minimize bubbles. If I try and shove the fabric in there and get it down in and use my tools to shove it down in the resin, I'm not going to get the same smooth result as I would if I just let the resin take it. This is what we are looking like. The resin is doing a great job at absorbing all the way into that fabric. Now, I did cut these circles pretty much bang on the original coaster. So they are, I think they're around 10 centimeter diameter. So all I'm doing here is just tucking the edges in. So I'm just using my micro brush just to go around those edges to tuck them down the sides, making sure that I have fully filled them. Luckily, I cut these out quite neatly. I didn't get any gaps this time. But yes, again, I'm not gonna watch you. I'm not gonna watch you. I'm not gonna watch you at all. I'm not gonna make you watch me tuck all 4 corners in. Oh, guys, anyway, we know circles don't have corners. Moving on, Claire, moving on. It is the next day. They are fully cured. Now, there are some kind of like lumps and bumps in these. I was a bit nervous. The fabric was definitely bumpy and lumpy. I was scared that would have some kind of detrimental effect in the final result, but it didn't. Spoiler alert, it didn't matter. For the backs, now if you saw my pendant video with the monogram letters on the front, for the backs of those I used white resin. Now for the backs of these I've decided to use a darker resin. I've decided to use the red. The red I used there is the Vista liquid pigment, but it was very, very, very red. It was very Santa red. So I added 1 little drop of black just to bring it into a more of a burgundy shade. And most unlike me, I didn't make enough resin. So I mixed up another little batch, added a bit too much black. So now we've got a deep, deep browny burgundy. That's all good. It really doesn't matter for me at this point. So once I've filled up the backs of my coasters, it's just a case of walking away, hoping for the best and hoping that the results I get are as stunning, if not more stunning than the pendants. This is the next day. Now, as soon as I started this project, I knew exactly how I wanted to finish these coasters off. Honestly, all of these fabrics, they scream Christmas, they scream Scottish Highlands, and they just scream festive. They scream cozy. But for me, it was all about bringing in the Scottish Highlands into a Christmassy theme, and the actual results were beautiful. Again, I was worried about the lumps and bumps, but I didn't need to be. It doesn't look like there's any impact at all from the raised and the lowered areas in that fabric. Now, guys, I have started using, like, I've worked with Teckwrap for a while, and obviously everything is in description box for Teckwrap, but I have started using the Teckwrap yellow, so the Teckwrap strong transfer tape. It's unreal. It's unreal. Sometimes I'll use a transfer tape and the transferring process is not that straightforward. I have to keep going back and scraping again and like scraping on both sides again. And I'm still not picking up the vinyl. And oh my goodness me, but the Teckwrap strong, I cannot even tell you what a game changer it is for me. Yeah, this is definitely going to be my go-to from now on. It's the one with the yellow grid on the back. But here you see me transferring on stunning images of these stags. Now it is Christmas, so we're going to call them reindeer, okay? For argument's sake, Claire White, how are stags Christmassy? We're going to call them reindeers, but they totally fit with the tartan theme. They fit with that Scottish Highlands theme. And if we call them reindeers, then they're totally Christmassy, so it's all okay. And I am in love with these images. They are the exact same image, but they are mirrored and flipped on the Cricut design space. And this is where you can see a stark difference between the red background and the white background. The coasters have the red and the pendants have the white, and it makes the fabric so much brighter. The only reason I went with a red background is if I made the same kind of mistake and didn't cut the fabric very well and then realizing it doesn't matter anyway because we're going in with the same gold pen as we did with the pendants. Now, for me, the gold pen pretty much saved my pendants, apart from a little bit of a dodgy area around the holes. So many of you guys gave me so many tips on how to fix those. Thank you so much. But for me, it has to have the gold pen outline. Now, this gold pen I'm using is the Deco Color Gold Metallic, not sponsored, but they are from Amazon, and honestly, they are simply beautiful. My technique, the technique I use is optional, but I tend to try as much as possible to keep my hand in one place. So the hand I'm holding the pen does not move. I actually move the coaster with my other hand in the hope that I'm going to get a nice neat line. Sometimes it works to perfection. Other times I accidentally stop and I have to go back a bit, and it is all good. For me, this gives the neatest effect and I'm absolutely loving them. These are of course going to get a top coat, to seal in that pen and just bring them to life and make them absolutely pop. Now this vinyl is a permanent white vinyl, so you don't really need to do a top coat, not unless you're planning on like picking it off or using a chisel to get it off. This is where we're going to do a top coat. So first up, I've done all the edges as well. So I've not just gone around on the top outside lip with the gold pen. I've actually done all of the sides as well in the gold pen, just to make them a little bit more uniform. And we're going to do a flood coat. What this means is I don't want to go crazy wasting resin, but I also want the resin to come down the sides to secure that gold pen in place. But when I do a flood coat, all you see me doing here is just pouring a little bit in the middle. I want to see how flat are my coasters, because even though I'm doing a flood coat, I don't want the resin to all fully pour off in one direction. I want that resin to happily flow over the edge around the entire coaster, and then you can kind of like use your gloved hand to run your finger around the outside edge of the coaster as well. But this is what they're looking like. This is the next day and they are fully cured and I am obsessed with the finish. Now when I do a flood coat, I don't like to pour a ton of resin. I don't want a sea of resin on my worktop. So I do absolute minimal flood coat for the minimal wastage. And this is why we protected the backs with that green masking tape, because it's good to protect the backs anyway, but when you are purposely doing a flood coat, just know that that resin is going to pour off the edges and stick to the underbelly of your piece. The next day then, it is time to remove your protective tape, and honestly this comes off like a dream. If you do have any problems taking your tape off of the back and you can't quite get it to come away, then you can use a heat tool just to soften those resin blobs a little bit. Honestly, I've never ever needed to do that on resin. I have needed to use that technique when I'm using wood and it has dripped under. Sometimes the wood can soak it a bit and you just need that heat gun to soften them to peel back the tape. But usually with resin on resin, for me, I've never had an issue. They just pop off and they are a dream to work with. Now I have used frog tape, masking tape, other brands are available. You can of course protect your backs with PVA glue, which is a dream to work with, or you could use liquid latex, but take into account those latex allergies for the person you're giving them to. I love them. I absolutely love them. How you finish these off is entirely up to you. I will be using self-adhesive cork background. You can of course use ready-made cut circles. You can cut the cork on your Cricut, or you could use your 3M rubber dots. How you finish them is entirely up to you, but I love them. I absolutely love them. They scream Christmas to me. They scream Scottish Highlands, but again, we're calling them reindeer, so they fit the Christmas aesthetic. I hope you have enjoyed this, and if you've never tried fabric in resin, please give it a go. I know some of you, because some of you have told me you were trying fabric in resin like 20 years ago, but if you have not yet tried it, definitely give it a go. It is such a simple one, especially so many of you that are here are new to resin. If you are a beginner, fully recommend it. I don't see how this could go wrong for us, honestly, even though I am a beginner myself with fabric, but I've loved it. Hope you have too, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.